The Tibetan Book of the Dead, also known as Bardo Thodol, offers profound insights into the nature of death, the afterlife, and the spiritual journey. It serves as a guide through the various stages of the Bardo, the liminal state between death and rebirth. What makes this text unique is how it merges Tibetan Buddhism's spiritual philosophy with practical meditation and mindfulness techniques designed to help one navigate this transition. It's not simply about death. It's about how we approach life, and how understanding these teachings can bring greater awareness and liberation in our daily existence. At its core, the Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches that death is not the end, but a transformative passage. It presents the idea that consciousness continues beyond physical death, and that liberation is possible through awareness of the Bardo stages. This book is filled with detailed descriptions of different realms, including peaceful deities and wrathful spirits, providing a roadmap to guide the soul's journey toward enlightenment. This sacred text is not only for those approaching death, but is meant to help all of us live more consciously, reminding us of the impermanence of life. By engaging with the teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead, one gains a deeper understanding of the inner workings of the mind, particularly how attachment and desire contribute to suffering. The practices taught in this text are meant to be applied during life, helping us break free from the cycle of suffering and, ultimately, achieve spiritual awakening. It encourages us to confront our own fears and attachments, leading to greater peace, presence, and understanding of the self. This spiritual framework offers a powerful path towards self-discovery and liberation, applicable to anyone seeking meaning in both life and death. Understanding the concept of Bardos. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the concept of the Bardo refers to the intermediate state between death and rebirth. It is a transitional period where consciousness is liberated from the physical body, moving through various stages of existence. The Bardo is not merely a waiting room for the afterlife, but a crucial passage filled with opportunities for spiritual growth and transformation. During this time, the individual's consciousness faces vivid experiences, many of which are shaped by their past actions, attachments, and level of spiritual development. The Bardos are classified into three main phases: Chikai Bardo, the moment of death; Koniad Bardo, the Bardo of visions; and Sipa Bardo, the Bardo of rebirth. Each phase has its own challenges and teachings. The Chikai Bardo is the moment of death, where the soul separates from the body and faces its first encounter with the clear light. The Koniad Bardo brings a series of vivid visions, both peaceful and wrathful, which reflect the individual's karmic patterns. Finally, in the Sipa Bardo, the soul prepares for its rebirth, where it must navigate the potential choices that lead to its next life. The teachings of the Tibetan Book of the Dead emphasize that understanding and preparing for the Bardos is not just about preparing for death, but about cultivating awareness during life. The practices suggested in the book encourage the practitioner to meditate on the Bardo states, helping to recognize these moments as part of the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. With a deeper understanding of the Bardos, individuals can approach death with equanimity, transforming their fears and attachments into opportunities for spiritual liberation and enlightenment. Chikai Bardo, the moment of death. The Chikai Bardo represents the first stage after death, the moment when the soul separates from the physical body. In this Bardo, the individual is faced with the profound experience of confronting the true nature of consciousness. The Tibetan teachings explain that if the practitioner has cultivated self-awareness and spiritual preparation during life, they may recognize the clear light during this transition. This light is considered the purest form of awareness, and encountering it is an opportunity for liberation, offering the soul the chance to transcend the cycle of reincarnation and achieve enlightenment. However, for many individuals who have not practiced self-awareness or mindfulness, the Chikai Bardo can be a time of fear and confusion. Without the ability to recognize the clear light, the consciousness may become entangled in illusion, continuing its attachment to the material world and its old karmic patterns. This is why the Tibetan Book of the Dead encourages the dying person to maintain a steady, calm awareness of the process, focusing on the reality of their inner consciousness rather than the external manifestations of death. The teachings around the Chikai Bardo are not solely for those at the time of death. They are also an invitation for the living to contemplate their own mortality and the impermanence of all things. By meditating on the moment of death and practicing awareness, individuals can become more adept at facing their own fears and illusions. The clearer their perception of the Bardo, the greater the potential for transformation and self-liberation, whether in life or after death. Koniad Bardo, the Bardo of visions. The Koniad Bardo is the second phase after death, and it is often referred to as the Bardo of visions. This stage is marked by a series of powerful experiences that can appear as either peaceful deities or wrathful spirits. For the newly deceased, these visions are a manifestation of their unconscious mind, often influenced by their past actions, thoughts, and unresolved emotions. The Tibetans believe that recognizing these appearances as reflections of the self, rather than external forces, offers the soul the chance to transcend the cycle of karma. The peaceful deities, often depicted in serene forms, symbolize the possibility of liberation and spiritual awakening. If the deceased can recognize these deities for what they are, they may merge with the clear light, entering a state of perfect peace and enlightenment. On the other hand, the wrathful spirits are typically the unprocessed fears and negative emotions that arise during this phase. They might appear as threatening figures, meant to frighten the deceased, but if these are embraced with awareness, they can serve as a vehicle for transformation. The key during this Bardo is the recognition of the illusionary nature of these appearances and the application of the teachings learned during life, such as mindfulness and self-awareness. For those who have cultivated their practice during life, this stage can be a profound opportunity for growth. The visions in the Koniad Bardo are symbolic, providing a mirror for the mind's deepest patterns and fears. If a person has worked on understanding their ego, shadow, and attachments, they may pass through this stage with greater ease, reaching liberation. Those who have not, however, may become lost in these illusions, leading them to further reincarnation. This is why, again, the Tibetan Book of the Dead teaches the living to meditate on the nature of perception, attachment, and the illusion of the self. Sipa Bardo, the Bardo of rebirth. The Sipa Bardo represents the final stage in the journey of the soul after death, leading into the process of rebirth. During this phase, the soul is influenced by its past experiences, karmic imprints, and unresolved emotions from the previous life. This stage is where the soul faces its next incarnation, and the choices made in this phase have significant consequences for the type of life it will experience in the future. For some, this phase is a cycle that repeats over and over until the soul has completed its spiritual journey and awakened to its true nature. In the Sipa Bardo, the deceased may encounter various signs or symbols indicating their new life, which may include visions of the womb or the potential for future existence. The soul's awareness of these signs, its capacity for self-reflection and understanding, can determine whether it moves toward liberation or becomes trapped in the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The teachings in the Tibetan Book of the Dead emphasize the importance of the soul's ability to recognize the signs of its next life and to make the conscious choice to break free from the cycles of samsara. The role of mindfulness meditation, self-awareness, and shadow work during life is crucial in this stage because they prepare the individual to make the most of the Sipa Bardo's transformative opportunities. The soul's journey through the Sipa Bardo is not fixed. It is deeply influenced by the actions, thoughts, and practices cultivated during life. If the individual has spent their life seeking spiritual truth, working on inner transformation, and cultivating self-awareness, they will be more likely to navigate this phase with greater ease, potentially breaking the cycle of rebirth. On the other hand, if they have lived a life dominated by attachment, desire, and ignorance, they may find themselves bound once again to the material world. Thus, This final Bardo underscores the importance of integrating one's spiritual practice throughout life. For it is in these moments of transition that the true meaning of self-realization and liberation is realized. Now that you've gained insights from the Tibetan Book of the Dead and its teachings about life after death, it's time to put these realizations into practice. How can you embrace life's impermanence and bring more awareness to your daily existence? What if understanding the Bardos and the cycle of rebirth could help you approach challenges with more clarity, peace, and purpose? Begin by taking small, mindful actions. Practice being present, reflect on the transitions in your life, and allow yourself to release attachments. The wisdom of the Tibetan teachings shows us that we hold the power to awaken to a deeper understanding of our existence in this very moment.